Good evening, this is Eswatini TV News at 8, read to you by myself, Notile Sitole, alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, let's have a look at our top stories. Standard Bank has given over 225,000 emalangeni to 3 organizations. Water Aid, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, is building 122 inclusive hand-washing facilities in 61 schools around the country. The High Court has stopped the elections for the vacant Senate seat. And now our bulletin in detail. Standard Bank Eswatini has donated close to 150,000 emalangeni to 2 organizations that encourage young people in schools to become entrepreneurs, namely Junior Achievement and Enactors Eswatini. The bank also contributed 75,000 emalangeni towards Maloma Colliery's school shoe campaign for destitute children in the kingdom.
Standard Bank Eswatini has yet again found it fit to financially support the work that is being done by Junior Achievement Eswatini and Enactors, as both organizations play the crucial role of encouraging the kingdom's youth to learn more about business and to become entrepreneurs. Speaking during the official presentation of replica checks to the 2 organizations at the Royal Villas Hotel, Standard Bank Chief Executive Mvuselelo Fagudze emphasized on the economy's need for youth-owned businesses.
Our children are crying out there for employment opportunities. I am saying let us create more entrepreneurs to solve the problem. The problem is amongst us and the answer lies amongst us as well. As a Maswati, no one is going to come from the West to help us get through the challenges that we have as a country. We need to sit down together and find solutions, and one of those solutions that at least we can contribute to is entrepreneurship.
In the same event, Standard Bank also handed over a sponsorship of 75,000 emalangeni to Maloma Colliery Mining Company. This money will be used for the company's school shoe campaign. The directors of Enactors and Junior Achievement Eswatini, as well as Maloma's acting CEO Carl Smith, thanked Standard Bank for consistently supporting their cause.
We have partners like Standard Bank, and we continue to interact and engage with these children wherever far away they are. It is going to be possible for them to be kept on the loop of what is happening in the country, what is happening in their education.
Our relationship with Standard Bank is not a new one. It's coming a long way, and it's maturing by the day and by the year.
Whenever we gather for such an occasion, which involves giving to others indeed, to support and empower the less fortunate, we are always filled with the joy to the heart and breadth of our spirit.
Junior Achievement was presented with a check of 88,000 emalangeni, while Enactors was given 60,000 emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongadube at Ezulwini.
The Eswatini Network of Young Positives organization is training young peer counselors living with HIV in Eswatini on the use of a newly developed scorecard which helps weigh the attitude and level of satisfaction that young people have with the services they receive in Eswatini's health facilities. Young people in Eswatini were trained on the use of this scorecard in a workshop held at the Bethel Court in Ezulwini.
One of the programs that is being run by the Eswatini Network of Young Positives organization is the Ready Plus project. This project is supported financially by Frontline AIDS in the United Kingdom. Eswatini Network of Young Positives program coordinator Futish Hongwe says one of the key targets of the Ready Plus project is to keep young people happy with the services they receive in Eswatini's health facilities, which is why the organization is rigorously training young people on the use of a scorecard that constantly measures young people's perceptions of HIV-related services in the country's health facilities.
The scorecard it is kind of a questionnaire that we use for young people, adolescents and young people that comes to facilities, just to check if the services that they get in the facilities or the communities are still youth-friendly and if they are still relevant, if they're even checking the issues of attitudes, especially when it comes to healthcare practitioners. This is not the first time we're doing it. This is the second time. It's something that we're supposed to be doing every year. So after we collect the data, we go back to each and every clinic where we have been implementing the scorecard to give feedback on what the young people are saying.
HIV peer motivator Nontsigelelo Shabangu shares some of the misgivings that young people have on the kingdom's health services.
Young people want their services to be friendly. They want to have free access to those services that will accommodate young people, especially those living with HIV. They have to be conducive. They don't want to be judged, especially when they want to access those SRHR services, both family planning. Yeah, even the queues, because it's time consuming, because you find out that we are wasting more time sitting on the benches, yet you inside there you have to do maybe something there will take you maybe 15 minutes, but then due to the queue that is in the hospital you have to wait there until maybe lunch before being attended.
The Eswatini network of young positives in Eswatini works together with two organizations, Kango and Repsi, for the implementation of the Ready Plus project. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube at Ezulwini.
The Eswatini Tourism Authority, in collaboration with the Royal Science and Technology Park, has launched the Eswatini Destination Application Competition. Speaking during the launch, Eswatini Tourism Authority's Chief Executive Officer Linda Nxumalo says the application will make it easy for tourists to explore Eswatini and to know what the country offers, at the same time giving young people an opportunity to grow their skills.
During the launch of the Eswatini Destination Application Competition, Eswatini Tourism Authority and the Royal Science and Technology Park urged the youth to grab the opportunity with both hands. Eswatini Tourism Authority's Chief Executive Officer Linda Nxumalo gives details of the competition.
We felt that it's quite important for us to align ourselves with the advancements in the digital space as well. We are quite excited today, and we do believe that young person who's going to enter this competition and win will really benefit from this. This is part of our tourism month initiatives. September is tourism month. The prize will be that the person will get 30,000 cash prize for them to sow it back into their business, and also they are going to be incubated in the Songonongonvo Maswati house. So and that's quite a lot. They are also going to be able to get patents and copyrights protection for their idea. So it's quite an exciting partnership, and we do believe that it is going to add value to the youth of Eswatini.
Vumile Dlamini, the Chief Executive Officer of the Royal Science and Technology Park, says one of the prizes to be received by the winner of the competition is that they will be nurtured under their business incubation program.
Atawuqhamuka nema-apps etawukhanza ukuthi ahamba embili lo winile uyawuthola umhlomelo utawuphindze bese uthola-ke nenzawo yokuhlala lana asebenzele lana ngasongqongqongqo eMaswati kule department yaka-incubation lapha kuqala khona sicathulisa khona ama-startups.
Eswatini Tourism Authority says the competition is open to young people between the ages of 18 to 35. The closing date is the 4th of next month, and the winner will be announced on the 8th next month. Young people who are interested in the competition can get more details on Eswatini Tourism Authority and Royal Science and Technology Park's digital platforms. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ndlangamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Pokweni.
The Eswatini National Youth Council is conducting a business plan writing program for the youth. The program's officer, Dumsansi Melane, says the council decided to embark on the program after noticing that young people were failing to get financial assistance from different institutions because their business plans do not meet the standard criteria.
After noticing that the youth lacks the needed skills of writing a business plan, the Eswatini National Youth Council invites young people to a business plan writing program.
We realize that this is the gap that then disadvantages a lot of our young people into accessing finances that the government of Eswatini has laid down for young people to access in order for them to advance their business aspirations. So we saw the opportunity as a youth council to then set in place structures where young people can come to Eswatini National Youth Council and get the capacitation of how to develop a business plan, how to develop financials, how to make financial projections, so that they get the skill, so that each time they have to develop a business plan or a proposal, they're able to then swiftly just also include this component with ease without them having to incur any costs related to, complementing their business plan.
The Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund says in Cycle 6 and 8 of the fund, only 28 businesses were funded out of 245 applications. The fund says most of the declined applications lacked proper business plans, hence the program by the Eswatini National Youth Council. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla with Temkosi Mavimbela, Manzini.
Water Aid, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, is building 122 inclusive hand-washing facilities in 61 schools around the country. This was said by the Policy, Advocacy and Governance Coordinator, Babazile Bembe, who said they make sure every time they build the facilities that people living with disabilities are catered for.
To further government's efforts of ensuring sanitation in different sectors, Water Aid, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, is building inclusive hand-washing facilities in different schools around the country. The Policy, Advocacy and Governance Coordinator, Babazile Bembe, gives details about the project.
We are installing 61 times 2, that's 122 hand washing facilities that are inclusive. These will be used by the children, the teachers and their support staff. So this is basically a project that we are supporting government to respond to COVID-19, and we are also supporting government to transform and sustain hygiene behavior in schools, particularly hand washing, which is very key to ensure that disease prevention is actually achieved in the country. So what we are basically doing as well is taking through the children, taking through the teachers in the different schools through a training on hygiene behavior change, which is a scientifically researched approach that Water Aid is using in this UNICEF-funded project.
Bembe says Water Aid will continue helping government to bring sanitation to Eswatini. The president of the Federation of Disabled People of Eswatini, Sipho Dlamini, says what the two organizations are doing is commendable. He, however, pleads with different organizations to consult them when doing things for people living with disabilities. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Elections for the vacant Senate seat have been stopped by the court. This follows Putana Dlamini's successful application before the court to stop them following his disqualification without reason. The matter is before Judge Nkosinati Masego.
The House of Senate will continue to be one man down as the elections for the vacant Senate seat left by the late Senator Jimmy Hlope has been stopped. The elections have been stopped by the High Court until Putana Dlamini's case is finalized in court. Dlamini had accepted nomination for the Senate elections, but he was disqualified without being furnished with reasons. The elections are now expected to stand down at least until 10 November, as that is when the matter will be argued in court. The court has found that Dlamini's matter is not urgent. However, it ordered that the elections be interdicted until the finalization of this matter. It has also ordered that Clerk of Parliament, Speaker of Parliament, and the Elections and Boundaries Commission furnish Dlamini or his attorneys with a reason for disqualification, if any, within 7 days from the date of service of this order. The court has further ordered that the decision to disqualify Dlamini be reviewed and set aside. The court has instructed that while the matter is still pending before court, the elections are put on ice and Dlamini is to be given reasons for disqualification. The respondents have been ordered to pay costs of these proceedings up to the stage of the ruling. In this matter, Dlamini was represented by Derek Jele, while Mdeni Vilagati stood for the respondents, and the presiding judicial officer was Judge Nkosinati Masego. For Eswatini TV News, Temgos Mavimbela with Muzim Konda, High Court.
The High Court has reduced the sentence of a prisoner who was convicted for being found guilty of having sexual relations with a 16-year-old girl. The prisoner had been sentenced to 15 years without an option of a fine by the Manzini Magistrate Court. His sentence has since been reduced to 9 years.
Dumisa Mbendulo Vilane was sentenced to 15 years imprisonment after he was found guilty of having sexual intercourse with a 16-year-old girl. The sentence was handed down by the Manzini Magistrates Court in January last year. Vilane then appealed the sentence, stating that it induced a sense of shock on the basis that he was a first offender. Evidence led in court was to the effect that the 25-year-old Vilane was in a relationship with the minor's mother. A child was born from this relationship. After the child was born, Vilane proposed love to her girlfriend's 16-year-old daughter, and the two started dating behind the mother's back. As Vilane and her new minor girlfriend sneaked behind the former's back and continued to date, they were eventually caught having sexual intercourse at a church. They were caught red-handed by Vilane's girlfriend, who is the mother to the minor, after she suspected the two were closer than meets the eye. Acting Judge Andreas Lukele in his ruling says the sentence was on the high end. The acting judge says evidence shows that the offense was not accompanied by violence and the sexual intercourse was with the consent of the minor. It is acting Judge Lukele's view that the magistrate did not sufficiently consider factors such as that Vilane and the minor were in a love relationship. The acting judge goes on to opine that such a sentence would be one reserved for the worst and most persistent offenders. Acting Judge Lukele says an appropriate sentence that fits the offense, Vilane, and in the interest of society is one that will allow the appellant a chance to reform and give him a second chance in life while punishing him for the offense he has committed. The acting judge also says Vilane pleaded guilty to the offense, and the evidence showed that the relationship was consensual between him and the minor. Acting Judge Lukele then reduced Vilane's sentence to 9 years. This will take into account the period he has already spent in custody. In this matter, Vilane was represented by Linda Dlamini, while Nobile Mhlanga stood for the Crown. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, High Court.
The Eswatini Association of Visually Impaired Persons is appealing for local donors to assist with hosting the White Cane Day commemorative event this year. The association's chairperson, Nondumiso Shongwe, says the association attaches great significance to the commemoration of this day, which is celebrated globally on the 15th of October.
International White Cane Day is celebrated globally on the 15th of October. This day is important for visually impaired persons who use White Cane Day commemorative events to highlight the different issues they are confronted with. Chairperson of the Eswatini Association of Visually Impaired Persons, Nondumiso Shongwe, says while her organization looks forward to hosting this event, but the problem now is the lack of finances.
Leso sikhathi seminyaka lapho khona bamphula bakhubatekile batabe bagubha lusuku lwabo lwetinduku letimhlophe mhla ka 15 October phase enkundla yesigwe
She says this year, this day will be commemorated at Sigwe constituency, and some of their biggest expenses include transport, catering, and other general hosting fees.
Etindzabeni tabo transport timali tekuchuba lo msebenzi netindzaba letiphatselene nekudla. Siyacela ke malunga ukuthi nisibambiseni maswati amahle ikakhulu ngoba sibanengi sibami labangaboni labanye bahlala.
Visually impaired persons doing different small business activities in the central town of Manzini then explained the challenges they face daily.
Kude imali yekhicite masidize kumele ukuthi sibe netimpahla nasifike ebantwini sibukeke nathi sibantfu laba bukekako njengabo bonke abahlabeleli.
Currently sosebenzisa ku Ang2 leli khadi alisikhona ukusita kuyase South Africa. Lokho futhi nakafika nase South Africa imali custom tingaba khona tinkinga ukuthi ngingakhona lokuyiva ukuthi ngimalini. Na ingasita lapho nje Central Bank isibukele nakule data se South Africa ukuthi singakhona kanjani diva.
Nginemshini mathembe ngingawina ka Coca-Cola but unfortunately nginolwazi nawo. Ngifisa ukuthi ngisizakale kuko ukuthi nginganolwazi lokusebenzisa ngizokhona ukuthi ngingagcini lana ngiqhubeke ngikhiqize.
Those willing to assist can call 766-25166, where they'll be advised how to reach to each one of the visually impaired persons appealing for assistance. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbonga Dube in Manzini.
And now let's have a look at the financial markets.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. Swimming coach Welcome Tlabadzi says Swim Lab Club will soon begin programs of introducing swimming for people living with disabilities in the country to ensure that they do not remain behind when it comes to sporting activities. Tlabadzi says the idea was boosted by the recent Paralympic Games held in Tokyo, Japan last month.
The recent Paralympic Games held in Tokyo, Japan last month seem to have boosted sporting fraternity to begin preparing local athletes with disabilities. Under Swimming Association, Swim Lab Club will begin introducing causes of people living with disabilities. The team coach, Welcome Tlabadzi, says this is one way to ensure that people living with disabilities are also not left behind when it comes to sports industry.
The Swim Lab Club, we are introducing a program whereby we will be working with the kids who are living with a disability. We are targeting kids around the country. We just want to encourage parents to bring kids forward. Let's not hide the kids. They want to feel special. They want to feel normal. They want to do what other kids are doing. So we as Swim Lab are saying here are our services. We would like to work with those children who are living with a disability. We are here for them and teach them how to swim. It may start at a Learn to Swim program for now, but we don't know how far it can take. Maybe one day we will have a team that will represent us in games. We're trying to be in line with the Sports Council. We're also introducing something like that.
Tlabadzi concluded saying that they will be using facilities within Babane, Malkens and Matsapa. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Lida Dlamini in Babane.
Chairman of Eswatini Sports and Recreational Council, Qiltulo Dlamini, says all sporting associations are urged to make use of national replicas. Dlamini says this is one way of lifting the country's flag when participating internationally.
All sporting associations affiliated under the Eswatini Sports and Recreational Council have been urged to make use of the national sports logo on their replicas when participating internationally. According to Sports Council Chairman Qiltulo Dlamini, whenever an athlete dons a national replica, it states clearly that the athlete is representing which country.
The council were very much helping abo. Sibonga minister kakhulu na iloko lesiyibona ko na emblem ngaka right ngoba yelive sithi si council ngoba siyabusiswa minister sicela onke ama associations ukuthi la ngaka right vela kube ngileya lelive sesingayibeka kethu ngesencele so athletics Eswatini iyawugcina lo mgomo lo sithi nje asekubonge honorable minister.
Dlamini concluded by thanking some associations such as Athletics Association of Eswatini, Swimming Association that are already donning the national sports logo. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Linda Dlamini, Mbabane.
That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. Standard Bank has given over 225,000 emalangeni to 3 organizations. WaterAid, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, is building 122 inclusive hand-washing facilities in 61 schools around the country. The High Court has stopped the elections for the vacant Senate seat. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team here at Eswatini TV. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.
Everywhere you go, MTN.